This week, 2024 Campaign Trail is in Milwaukee for a special preview of this year's Republican National Convention. We'll talk to Allison Pranki, the RNC Host Committee's Chief Operations Officer, about what it takes to fundraise and prepare the city for a convention, and with Milwaukee Mayor Cavalier Johnson about his role in bringing the convention to his city. We'll also talk to local businesses about their preparations for the big week. But first, a conversation with RNC Chair Michael Whatley about his group's preparation for the convention.
You know, we're so excited about being in Milwaukee. There's really a lot that goes into making the decision on where to go for the convention. The fact that it's a battleground state, Wisconsin is one of the most important battleground states in the entire country, certainly fits into it. But I think more importantly for us is just Milwaukee is a great town. They are very excited to be hosting us. They have the facilities for us to be able to put the convention together. The arena, the Fiserv Arena is just absolutely a fantastic venue. And we were able to get all of the hotel rooms in Wisconsin, over 15,000 hotel rooms that we needed to contract for. You know, really, when you talk about the logistics of bringing 50,000 people into an arena overnight, for 4 consecutive nights, it is a challenge, and you've really got to have a host committee that is in a host city that can work together, that are very committed to making sure that we do this. And we've had really fantastic partnership with Wisconsin and with Milwaukee.
Can you give us an idea of the scale of this year's convention? Just how many people are expected to come into town, delegates, media, everyone there?
Yeah, we're going to have 2,429 delegates, 2,262 alternates. So, just about 4,700 people that are going to be kind of participating officially. But the full total, when you include the guests, when you include the media, when you include all the folks that are going to be working, over 50,000 people who are going to be descending on Milwaukee. It really, truly is an opportunity to kind of bring the entire world into Milwaukee.
And tell us about your specific role in this year's convention.
Well, as the chair of the RNC, I get to gavel the whole thing open, and then we will be working, obviously, throughout the entire show. We will have a chair of the convention who will actually be running the formal parts of it. But, there's a lot that goes on, and we also are going to be having an RNC meeting while we're there. We have a whole bunch of different press opportunities that I'll be working on. Meeting with people from all across the country, frankly, all across the world that are going to be there. So I'm looking at 2 solid weeks up in Milwaukee, and I can't wait.
You mentioned earlier this is a large number of people coming to Milwaukee. How many folks does it take on your end to pull this convention off?
Thousands. I think that we already have a couple hundred staff that are up there that are working full time in Milwaukee already. We are going to be looking at, right now we've got 300 to 500 people operating in the construction of the arena, making sure that we get everything built out on a daily basis that are going to be there. We will have thousands of volunteers that are going to be coming in, people who are going to be helping parking, people who are going to be helping direct folks, where they're going to go in the arena, folks that are going to help with logistics. We're going to have not just the arena itself, but there's another arena right next to it that's going to be the press command center. So we're going to have folks that are going to be, helping the press. We've got over 700 media outlets that have been credentialed, over 15,000 media credentials that we're going to be putting out. So, just on the technical side, the logistics are going to be very big. So it's a huge undertaking. A lot of people compare it to running the Super Bowl 4 nights in a row. We want to roll out President Trump to the American people, but we also want to roll out the Republican brand to the American people. There really are 2 things that are happening simultaneously here. One is the stage production, and that's inside. And you think about a brand new world-class stage that's never been built anything like this before, 26 feet tall. Part of it is suspended from the ceiling, 60 feet wide, 1,200 LED panels, including, not just the walls and background, but the floor. We've never seen an operation like that. So to be bringing in all of the speakers that we're going to have, and it's not just political speakers. We will obviously have members of Congress and governors and senators, but we want to hear from everyday Americans. We want to hear from real people all across the country. And so we've set up the show to be able to do that. And we really, truly want to connect not just with the people in the room, but with a TV audience that's not, in necessarily Milwaukee, but all across the country and frankly, all across the world, which is why that media presence is going to be such a big deal. Look, I think that we're going to be rolling out the themes as we get closer to the event, and we're about 40 days out. I think the thing is, this is America. This is about the strength of this country, the strength of our people, and making sure that we have a president who is worthy to lead these people, who understands the strength in the American people and the strength in America, and what that role looks like. We're going to be across the world.
Next, our conversation with Allison Pranki. She's the Chief Operating Officer of the RNC's host committee and met C-SPAN outside her office in downtown Milwaukee to talk about her organization's role in planning this year's Republican convention.
The host committee has been around a couple years, and our role is just that. We're the host of the convention. We were on the ground ahead of the Republican National Committee to be here to help get things ready and make their job easy when they show up to get set for the convention. My specific role is acting as the Chief Operating Officer, so I am in charge of the day-to-day operation for our efforts, whether it's working on contracts, whether it's working on recruiting volunteers, and then working with our board and our chairman on the fundraising and our fundraising team, because that's the biggest job of the host committee, is to raise the dollars necessary to put on a convention.
And how many dollars is this convention going to cost this year?
Well, our budget when we started is $68 million. There will be more news to come because our fundraising is going great. We're getting close to wrapping things up, not quite there, but really excited about the momentum we have.
And give our viewers an idea of what that money goes toward. What is that millions of dollars go toward during that week?
Well, when you talk about fundraising for a convention, the host committee is the nonprofit, nonpartisan organization for those people that don't know that, because it's not a natural connection. And so when they give to us, it's obviously a deduction, but the money we raise really goes to building out the things you see at the convention. And so when you see the convention hall, it transforms the convention center. It goes to putting on the welcome party. It goes to paying for buses for people to drive around during the convention. All of those things.
Give us an idea of the scale. How many people does this take? How long does it take?
It's hard to imagine a convention until you're in the middle of it, have the role I have the role others have with it. There are lots of people. There are thousands of volunteers that will have. The host committee is working to recruit 4,000 volunteers, and happy to share we are almost there today, not quite. But on top of that, we also have staff. The host committee has a volunteer board of directors. We have a finance committee, and we have some other organizations that are working with us as volunteers to help make sure that this convention is great for the city and great for our state.
So those 4,000 volunteers, are they kind of like the welcome wagon of Milwaukee?
They are. I mean, we've been recruiting people to volunteer for this because it's the nonpartisan host committee, because we want to showcase the city. We want every single of the 15,000 visitors that come to Milwaukee for the convention to get a Wisconsin welcome, to get a Milwaukee welcome, and to be able to ask questions of people that live here so they can find the best restaurant, the best beer, the best old-fashioned, or anything else that they want to know about our city.
So the planning for 15,000 people coming to a city, 50,000 people coming to a city like Milwaukee, that takes a while. When did this really all start?
The work began when the city of Milwaukee, and we have a fabulous mayor, Cavalier Johnson, and Visit Milwaukee began the work to pursue, winning the convention for the city. They worked closely with a great board here that led that effort. Ryan Priebus was obviously very instrumental in that. Former Governor Tommy Thompson as well, names people probably know well. Former Governor Scott Walker also. They did a big pitch to win this. And then in the summer of, I've got to think about this, about where we are, 2022, the planning began. And since then, and which is when you think about this, you work for 2 years to put on the convention, and now we're just 40 days away.
So what are these last 40 days like? I know there was a milestone recently with the actual Fiserv Forum where most people will see the broadcast each day.
Yes. Oh, so we are getting moved into the Fiserv Forum right now, and construction is beginning. We would have loved as Milwaukeeans to see the Milwaukee Bucks go all the way and win the NBA championship. Unfortunately, that didn't happen next year. They will next year. I'm going to go on the record saying that. We're already thinking about that. But we were able to move in the Fiserv Forum. And the RNC and the team that's working on the build-out is literally moving in today. We're moving things out. Some people might not know that you empty out these arenas. There's a lot of stuff that goes into supporting those stadiums. So we are responsible for getting that stuff moved out. And not only will they be in the Fiserv Forum, but people are going to be in the Baird Center, which is the fabulous new convention center that just opened a few weeks ago, if you didn't know that. And it is phenomenal. I think people, when they come into Milwaukee, are going to be really impressed when they come from around the country and around the world.
So these facilities are not going to look the way they do normally for a Bucks game, for example. It's going to be kind of a whole reconstruction of the inside, right?
That's right. I mean, that's the big thing that happens. You really provide a blank slate, and then the Republican National Committee and the Committee on Arrangements transform that arena, and it becomes what people will see throughout the week when they tune into the convention.
So you said this is a nonpartisan host committee really seeking to show off Milwaukee. What are you hoping those 50,000 visitors that come for the RNC, what are you hoping their takeaway from their visit to Milwaukee is going to be?
We want to have tremendous economic impact. We want for all those guests who've never been to the Midwest, never been to Milwaukee, to see what an amazing city it is. It's a world-class city. We want them to see the businesses, the type of companies and small businesses to large, Fortune 500s to little mom and pop businesses are here, the diversity of business that we have, and then also the warm Wisconsin welcome, the fact that they should think about this as a destination, not just for vacation, we want them to vacation here, but if you're thinking about moving a company to Wisconsin, think about Milwaukee, think about the state, and then it's a place to work, live, play, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say go to school, whether it's here in Milwaukee or at the University of Wisconsin.
Next, we're at Milwaukee's historic City Hall, where we spoke with Mayor Cavalier Johnson, a Democrat, about his role in bringing the Republicans' convention to his city.
We did a lot of things to convince Republicans to choose Milwaukee here. We had a contingent from the RNC that came on site to Milwaukee looking for the site selection committee. We wined and dined them. We had this wonderful conversation with them here in Milwaukee over at Lake Park Bistro, and I'm told that was the moment where the Republicans fell in love with Milwaukee. I talked to them about my own personal story coming up in this city. Starting off as a kid and working my way all the way to becoming mayor, and the fact that my story also involves inspiration from a Republican. I'm a Democrat. Milwaukee is a very blue city, but President George W. Bush was one of the factors that inspired me to run for office in the first place. And so I think that story was really compelling to them. And before I was initially elected mayor in the spring of 2022, days before, maybe even 2 weeks before the mayoral election, I took a whole day off of the campaign trail to fly to D.C. With our Visitors and Convention Bureau, Visit Milwaukee, to make the final pitch in a bipartisan way to the Republican National Committee. And lo and behold, Milwaukee won the convention.
What was that pitch to the RNC? Why Milwaukee?
That Milwaukee actually wanted them. We actually wanted the convention to come here for a whole host of reasons. I have said this, time and again. For me, I see the RNC not as the end, but I see it as the beginning. Now, certainly, we are breathing some really rarefied air in Milwaukee, having been one of these communities that has been able to win both of the national political conventions for us in back-to-back cycles. But for me, I want Milwaukee to be host to other large-scale political, because I would like the DNC to come back to Milwaukee at some point in the future, but other large-scale political, business, sports, entertainment events to happen in the future. And the RNC can open the door to that. So we wanted them to come here, and we aggressively pursued the RNC to come here. So there was that piece. But then there was also the hospitality of this city. I mean, this is a very welcoming city, Milwaukee is. It's a great place with great people, with great institutions. Like, there's no better place to be in this country in the summertime than right here in the city of Milwaukee, with all of our festivals, with our access to Lake Michigan, with our cultural amenities, with our parks, incredible park system here. This is a foodie's paradise here in this city. Of course, there's major league sports teams, and the diversity of neighborhoods that we have in Milwaukee. I think whether it's folks in the RNC or folks in business or any other venture that looks for a place to host a large-scale convention, they're going to start hearing about Milwaukee and noticing Milwaukee when they see this 4-day-long global commercial that's broadcast about Milwaukee. They'll be looking to come here too.
And besides that exposure, what's the benefit to residents and businesses here?
The benefit to folks on the ground here is that when you get an influx of people coming in the case of the RNC, 50,000 people coming from across the country and around the world, those folks are going to spend money here. They're going to stay here. They're going to support our local economy. They're going to put dollars into the pockets of people who live and work right here in our city. And again, this is not the end, this is the beginning. And so we open the door to other large-scale events to come here that only compounds that happening in the future. So more large-scale events, more large-scale programming that happens here means more people coming here, more people spending dollars here, more people moving here, more businesses locating here. That's good for our economy, that's good for our society right here in this community.
How is your city preparing for the RNC?
Oh, we're preparing day and night, it seems. My chief of staff, I assigned him to be my point person on the RNC. And so every single week, my office is meeting with the RNC, is meeting with the Secret Service, other law enforcement agencies to make sure that we're looking at every single aspect related to the RNC. And so there are some 20 plus subcommittees related to security that my office and the Secret Service are working on. So there's that. We worked in a bipartisan way again to increase the security grant for the convention. You may know this, but these security grants came into place in the first presidential election after 9/11, so 2004. And they've been stuck at $50 million since then. It's 20 years of that. And obviously costs have gone up. I usually give the anecdote about, when I was a kid back then, I could take $1 and go into the corner store and get chips, a juice, a pack of gum, and a honey bun, and do it for $1. Can't do that now, and so we've worked to increase the security grant funding, so it's not $50 million, now it's $75 million. So we're doing that, and then we're working collaboratively with businesses, particularly those that will be impacted more so because they're in the security footprint. To be best prepared for this. Our Visitors and Tourism Bureau, again, Visit Milwaukee, is working to make sure that businesses all throughout Milwaukee and our region, quite frankly, have an opportunity to get plugged in with opportunities with the RNC as well. So whether it's business, whether it's security, whether it's work with the Secret Service, we are focused in on making sure that we're prepared to have a convention that's safe and that's one that's going to benefit everybody here in our community.
And how do you accommodate the residents and businesses that just happen to be right around the convention site?
And that's exactly what I was talking about before. I mean, we're actively working and holding meetings with those residences, with those residents, with those businesses that'll be impacted as well, to let them know about the opportunity and also help them to know about the logistics of getting in and out of their dwelling, to have deliveries to come at a set time so that their business is not further impacted by the fact that the convention will be in their backyard. So we're having all those conversations with all the impacted parties to make sure, again, that we have a successful convention for everybody. That's what our hope, that's what our goal is.
And what's your role during the convention week itself?
So I don't know if the RNC is going to ask me or has asked me to have an official role during the convention itself. I will be out there. I will have conversations with our community more broadly about what's going on that day. and working to make sure that I am a welcoming figure for folks who are coming here, encouraging them to spend their dollars here in our economy, but then also working to make sure that we uplift the values that we have in Milwaukee. And that I have as a Democrat, during that convention as well. So some of it will be official, and some of it will be political. And I, have told the Republicans, time and again, like I appreciate the fact that they're coming here. I wanted them to come here because of the support for our economy and lifting up Milwaukee nationally and globally. That's one thing, but. On the political end, do I agree with what will be said on stage at Pfizer Forum or the presumptive Republican nominee? The answer is absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so we'll be making that known as well.
Next, a look at how Milwaukee's business community is preparing for this year's RNC with Peggy Williams-Smith. She's the president and CEO of Visit Milwaukee.
Our job is to sell and market the city, to create economic impact through travel and tourism, and we are so proud to be able to do that each and every day. So this whole process started over 2 years ago when we received the RFP in the mail from the Republican National Committee. And from there, we've been able to bring people in, show them what Milwaukee has to offer, show them our incredible lakefront, our three rivers, our amazing dining scene, our incredible cultural institutions, as well as the numerous performing arts venues that we have. We are a city of small businesses. When you walk through the streets of Milwaukee, you'll see there's not a lot of chains. We do a lot of locally grown restaurants and retail and things of that nature. So this is really important to our community. Obviously, tourism can't go everywhere, but we find ways to help bring those businesses to tourism when they can't go to them, when our visitors can't go to them.
What kind of an impact is this looking like for Milwaukee? Is this going to be a major economic event for the city?
It already has been. So it started nearly 2 years ago. We've had more presidential visits than we have in any other election cycle. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with the fact that the RNC is here this year. Last year we had the first GOP debate in Milwaukee. We've had people who have actually moved here from DC and have lived here for over 1.5 years. We have people who are getting married here, who are getting engaged, who are having babies. These are all things that help with the mayor's vision to grow our population, and we think this is just one more step in that, which makes true economic impact. The week of, we know that our hotels are going to be sold out, not just here in the city, but throughout the region. And we also know that there's going to be a huge impact to our small business community. Obviously, when you have a former president coming to the city, as well as a lot of high-ranking elected officials, security is going to have to be a little more intense, and we understand that. And although that may hurt some of our small businesses, I hope that what people see is the overall impact that the convention will bring to us. I mean, even just today, having you here at C-SPAN, 15,000 credentialed journalists who are experiencing Milwaukee for the first time, that to us is our opportunity to let Milwaukee shine on an international stage.
One of those local Milwaukee business owners preparing for the RNC is Marla Pointinger, founder and CEO of Bars and Recreation, a group of restaurants and bars. We met her at the group's venue, The New Fashioned.
It is a brand new food and beverage and activity center. We've got 8 hyper bowling lanes. We've got 4 dart ball bays, 2 curling courts, a 50-tap self-pour wall, beer, wine, soda, cocktails, and we've got upstairs 2 full bars, and we also have local food from Benson's Restaurant Group. So an awesome place to be when you're here visiting Milwaukee.
And how close are we to the Pfizer Forum where the RNC is going to be held?
I would say about 100 feet maybe, right across the plaza.
So you're the closest option for a drink and a brat after.
Absolutely the closest option, and I think probably the only option for a beer and a brat when you're here during the Republican National Convention.
So what does it mean as a business owner here in Milwaukee to have a big convention like this come to town?
Well, the mayor of Milwaukee called us the living room of Milwaukee, and we're so proud of that, and we really just want to show that off whenever anybody is in town here in Milwaukee. We are really built to be the place for locals and visitors to come and experience all of Milwaukee in one stop. So that's why we have local food, we have local beer, we have local entertainment that's really about the fabric of Milwaukee. We've got an awesome patio, and really you can just come and do everything that you want and take home a souvenir too. We've got a local shop full of artists and makers and everything that you would want to take home as a souvenir of your time here in Milwaukee. So it's so great that we're going to have an opportunity all summer, not just during this convention, but everything that we have going on this summer, to show off how great the city is and the people in it as well.
What is your pitch for Milwaukee to people coming to town? Why should they want to come here?
I think Milwaukee is really special because we have so many local businesses. We're all about local entrepreneurs. I think the mayor and our politicians are really supportive of local businesses. It's been 10 years and I've been able to open 5 businesses in downtown Milwaukee during that time. I've got a whole collection of entertainment brands right here downtown Milwaukee that I'm excited to show off. And I think that's really unique that we have a city where entrepreneurs can come and really put their mark on this town and make a difference, build a brand, create jobs, and do something really meaningful during their time here. And I want to show that to the world during this time here this summer.
Milwaukee had the chance at hosting the DNC in 2020, but with COVID, that didn't happen.
Right.
A lot of hopes pinning on this. Are folks feeling better about this one pulling through?
Well, I certainly hope this one will pull through. We were really disappointed about the DNC. I mean, that was just crushing to have that opportunity right at our fingertips and then to see it slip through. So when we got the news, I remember where I was when they announced that we had secured the Republican National Convention, and it felt like an opportunity for a do-over. And so I think that there's definitely excitement in the community to have that opportunity again. I think that in the hospitality industry, like, there's nothing better than to be able to plan big events, to be right in the epicenter of it, to be busy, to be able to just serve people and show off our food, our drinks, our activities. So that's really positive, and everybody is excited to have that opportunity. I think there's a lot of uncertainty still. People are wondering, like, what is it going to be like? We never had the opportunity to do it. So everybody's a little bit nervous about that. But that's what's fun about hospitality in general, is that you never know what you're going to get.
Our last stop on this week's 2024 campaign trail is outside the Phi Serve Forum in Milwaukee. That's where we met with Brad Wallace of Go Right Way, one of the transportation providers for this year's Republican National Convention.
So we're a transportation company, started out as a school bus company with 4 buses back in the 50s from a kitchen table northwest of town here. We've grown to about 1,400 employees and about 1,200 vehicles, most of them school buses, but quite a few what we call commercial services vehicles as well. That services the public with airport transfers in sedans all the way up to large group moves into motor coaches, much like this one.
And you guys have a pretty big role in this year's Republican National Convention. Tell us about that.
So there's a huge transportation need for to move delegates around. There's what's being referred to as the GOP Express, and that's taking delegates from the hotels that are spread out all over southeastern Wisconsin into the convention center area of the 3 primary venues, one of which is Phi Serve Forum, which everyone will see. And they need hundreds of buses to do that. And so we're a local company. We've pledged about 40 to 50 vehicles for this effort. So I'm sure that the RNC really appreciates making one phone call to get 40 of those buses taken care of right away.
And how does a company like yours get ready for a big event like this? You got to be looking at new employees, perhaps, getting the logistics right. How does it all work?
Well, this is one of those situations where you really expand out and you become a large company. We're a fairly large company in that we do kind of project out to cover large events like golf tournaments in the area, as well as other sporting events. But nothing the size of this has really come into Milwaukee in many, many years. We're hearing that it's 4 Super Bowls in consecutive days. And so the preparations are really about surveying the streets, making sure that our equipment is up and running. A lot of our techs are certified to do warranty work, so we can get them up to date right away. And so there's a lot that goes into making sure that your fleet is going at top efficiency. At the same time, we're looking at recruiting drivers. Obviously, we're always recruiting drivers, and this was a large part of that recruitment effort over the last year. The dates were announced well over a year ago, and everybody knew when that was, and so we've been kind of like aiming for that week in July for quite a while.
And this is another layer of security than you normally see at big events here in Wisconsin, right?
Yeah, that's true. So we obviously have to be aware of the perimeter. There's a soft perimeter, there's a hard perimeter, and honestly, when we put these motor coaches and drivers in service for the RNC, the Secret Service does take custody of the equipment, and they are also using magnometers for all of our drivers and everything every day. So they're in a secured location for that time frame, and that's all of the buses, not just ours. And then that morning, the drivers get their marching orders. They've already been pre-authorized by the Secret Service to do this work, and there's also law enforcement on all of the vehicles as well.
A reminder: this program and all of C-SPAN's Campaign 2024 coverage can be found online at cspan.org/campaign.